Hey guys, Ken here from the Retro Toys channel in Malaysia. On the channel today, I'm taking a throwback look at McFarlane's original Michael Myers action figure from movie Maniacs Series 2 in 1999. You know guys, today you might walk into a store and find something like 50,000 Michael Myers figures of all shapes and sizes. But back in the day, nobody would touch this stuff, okay? Nobody except for Todd McFarlane. Guys, if you enjoyed the content here, do consider supporting the channel by clicking on the join button to sign up as a channel member here on YouTube or signing up on the Retro Toys Patreon page. Members have access to exclusive content, priority replies, and video requests. Thank you, and I look forward to having you guys on board. I remember all the movie Maniacs packages being really big. I mean, they downsized them later, but for a while, these would take up a lot of space in your collection. Now, the whole package is filled with text and information. You have the character's name on the lower left side. And then on the right side here, it says feature film figures. At the bottom, there's a symbol of a skull and crossbones. It's there for no reason, I guess, other than the fact that this is a horror toy and maybe a skull and crossbones seems appropriate. On the back of the box, you get a ton of graphics and cross-cell images. Even in this, the presentation was innovated because they made it widescreen. You know, just a ton of product coming out from them at the time, even stuff that absolutely did not require toys like Austin Power perhaps. But the horror stuff is where they would put their footprint, okay? All of these are the first ever action figure renditions of these characters. Stuff like Ghostface, Chucky, Psycho, The Crow, Pumpkinhead. This was one hell of a lineup, okay? And there's a company called Syndicate Collectibles that's bringing back Pumpkinhead this year, but McFarlane did it first. Guys, this particular figure of Michael Myers is the very first modern-day action figure rendition of the character. And before this, like I said, nobody was touching this stuff. McFarlane had it in his mind that people needed this. Okay, there was an untapped base of collectors out there that wanted these horror action figures. Somehow or the other, he managed to get together the licenses to get these things done. And you know what? At that time, if you were there, you know, the action figure industry was not ready for something like this. There was nothing of this scale, none of the grittiness, okay? You didn't have characters that were like horror themed and basically based off like horror movies and in retail, okay? You didn't have this stuff at retail. And looking at the quality of this face sculpt, even 2 decades later, this thing still holds up. Okay, this was the first Michael Myers action figure put out there in the market. And I would have to say that for its time, and even right now, they pretty much nailed it. Okay, the sculpt overall, okay, is basically just more or less a brick, okay? Basically, if you got the figure sculpted as though he was raising his hands up, like as though it was in a stabbing motion, then that's basically all you could do with it. You couldn't get it to do much of anything else. All of these figures came with cut joints, okay? So you could just move them maybe at the shoulders, maybe at the waist, and you really couldn't do anything with them like below the waist, okay? There was no like thigh movement or knee articulation. There wasn't like 200 ball joints, okay? They just emphasized on the sculpt, okay, the main overall sculpt. So these figures are just meant to be posed in one particular pose, okay, in just one particular action scene. And you know, most of the time, you know, these were collectibles that a lot of people just left on card. They never even bothered to open them up. So I guess in that, they got some leeway there and basically just cutting back on articulation and just presenting the best possible figure they could in package. And the figures also came with very minimal accessories, you know, none of that NECA ultimate stuff that you get these days. So like back in the day, McFarlane just needed to put a pumpkin and a butcher knife with this Michael Myers figure, but it was effective. The other thing that the movie Maniacs figures were famous for were the recreations of the classic movie posters. Okay, so like if this thing came from the first Halloween movie, then you got the film poster for that movie. And it was presented on this sort of like a film standee that looked like something that came straight out of hell. Like this was in like a cinema from hell itself, okay? Because the standee was just, you know, sculpted with skulls all around it and just like decaying bits of bones, you know, stuck to it. It looked fantastic, okay, for what it was. And you know what? You know, this whole presentation as it is, okay, was at that time, like I said, something that the market had never seen before. Nobody had ever seen anything like this before. McFarlane introduced it first, okay? In fact, today, man, he's still innovating the game. Guys, if you collected these figures from back in the day, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys think of the movie Maniacs Series 2 Michael Myers from 1999. Hit me up. Thanks for watching the video and don't forget to support the channel so I can keep bringing you more content like this.